explorer! Welcome back to our journey through the history, beauty, and mysteries of my lovely island. In the first episode, I brought you back to your history classes of colonization, reminding you how the white people used to arrive in lands around the world, bringing the truth and weapons. That's in the past, right? I also introduce you to our native residents, the indigenous people, represented by the red color in our flag of Maranhão. Yes, that's a homage for the three races that form our state. I didn't mention the third color yet. It's time for Black History. My name is Aide, and welcome to São Luís. Visiting our historical city center, which you already know is recognized as a World Cultural Heritage Site by UNESCO, many details can catch your attention, like the colorful ceramic tiles on the walls, the cantaria stones on the floors, the views from the balconies, the thick walls, waterproof with whale oil, which doesn't sound very vegan, the stairways, alleyways, streets, and hundreds of buildings in colonial style. But do you think the Portuguese built it all with their bare white hands and bare backs? The first labor force exploited here was indigenous people, but eventually, the state of Maranhão also entered a business on trend those days, the slave trade. Saying in English sounds like startup vocabulary, but no, it's still a huge racist thing, like a lot of startups. The slave trade became the largest migration flow in history. Around 10 million Africans crossed the ocean not as people, but as commodities. More than 4 million of them only coming to Brazil, the place that received the most slaves in the Americas. They arrive in ports like this, in São Luís. Have you ever got seasick in a boat party? Imagine that, but without the ocean breeze. You're locked at the ship's hold, squeezed with hundreds of others, with barely no food or water, traveling for months without even knowing where to. Of course, with no paddle. Can you imagine that? 15% of these people not even get to the other side of the ocean, died on the way. That's only the first part of the Black Holocaust, the African genocide. Yes, that's how we should call it. The slave trade brought different ethnic groups to our land, like my mother introducing my father to her white family. These groups formed something that we call diaspora, and my father did something we call porcentagem. The origin of the groups that arrived in São Luís was mainly from the occidental coast of Africa, from the current countries of Guinea-Bissau and Angola, but also from Senegal, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Equatorial Guinea, and even from Mozambique in the eastern side of Africa. And you thought they are all from the country Africa, huh? The black labor force in the cotton, rice, and sugar farms made a growth in the economy of the state. And on the eve of the independence in the 19th century, Maranhão had the highest percentage of slave population in the empire. 55%. The end of slavery in Brazil was finally proclaimed in 1888. Can you believe that some of the slaves are still working nowadays? In the afterlife? Oh, the fall of Ana Jansen. She was the owner of one of the largest cotton and sugarcane productions in the empire and had the biggest number of slaves in the region. Girl power, she was also known by her cruelty and methods of torture towards her slaves. A legend tells that after her death, as a sentence for her sins, she still haunts the city center, and at night, you may hear the sound of her flaming carriage, driven by slaves and horses, all decapitated. Don't ask me how they see the way, but honestly, slave ghosts aren't the most relevant thing remaining for our black ancestors. The African influence in the city was denied for a long time. Until the 20th century, cultural expressions were even repressed by law. Yes, the First and Second World War going on, and in São Luís, the fear was the beats of the drums. A target of this repression, but also an example of the resistance of the black culture is this place, the Casa de Minas GG, considered the oldest Afro-religion center in the state that's still open and running nowadays. The house was founded by people from the Mina coast, in the old kingdom of Dahomey. It's a spiritual and sacred place, and a perfect example of the Brazilian religion syncretism, where the tambor de Mina added traditions from the Catholicism. Here we learn that if your oppressor doesn't allow you to celebrate your gods, make they think you're praying for their sins. The African heritage in the state added new words to the language we speak, new tastes and flavors in the local cuisine, new sounds and movements. While the whites brought the carnival and St. John celebrations, the black people taught them how to dance properly, as I'm still trying to teach my European boyfriend. Think I will need a few centuries for it. In the next episode of our web series, I'll invite you to the party and show you our rhythms, from the tambor de crioula to the rag music, from the cacuriá to our most famous dance. No, not the Portuguese dance. I'm talking about Bumba, meu boy. Stay with me for the third and last episode of Welcome to São Luís. Well, here we go again.